You're watching Drakewing Gaming. Enjoy the video.
Hey guys and gals, Never here for Drakewing Gaming. Just sending me on Twitter, The Gaming Dragon. Today I'm coming back at you with another Let's Play episode of Minotaur Hotel. So yeah, before we jump into it, just wanted to let y'all know that our Patreon is now for as little as $5. Y'all can help support the channel, get some awesome rewards like permanent access to our community Discord server and full access to upcoming not safe for work videos. Anyway, let's go ahead and jump right back in. Alarm chain, you were up, and let's go. Alright, Hades, the ferryman. It's like the end of a summer's day back at the Palace of Knossos. Rivulets falling to the patio stone floor, droplets pouring from the trees down to the saffron bushes. The pitter-patter of fat droplets and children's feet as the Minotaur sat by the tall red pillars, thinking, not making a noise. Thinking as his father told him to, as he did now. He had walked a dozen steps downhill before he lost balance and fell to his knees. Now he sat, collecting himself. The Minotaur looked up to the stony ceiling hundreds of feet above him, raining down the same fat drops of water on his muzzle. His neck hurt as if a searing iron wire had burnt it. His tongue and throat were locked frozen by a lump in his neck. Asterion thought well as he plucked and then cradled an asphodel flower in his hand. Wait, I already did this part. Oh, did it not save properly? Fuck, that's fine. He was surrounded by them, in this meadow overlooking a labyrinthine land of rivers. His body ached, but how soft a flower's petals are against one's hand. Its white and pink were like a slash of life in this darkened land. How long did he stay there in the asphodel field? He lost track of time, and he remembers the moment he rose, when he caught himself humming. A nameless, graceless tune coming from deep within him. A cold drop fell in the palm of his hand, and the Minotaur was awoken from his trance. Prince Asterion, adopted son of King Minos of Crete, rose and looked down toward the rivers. And there he was, the man waiting by the shore. This time he stomped downhill, letting the slope guide him in leaps and bounds. He could not laugh, the lump in his throat made sure of that, but splayed on his muzzle was a smile. When the slope ended, he let momentum carry him to the shore, to the skeletal man in his humble boat. Never before had Asterion seen such a sordid creature. His beard, drier than hay and caked with foul filth, went down to the muddy shore. His feet, half sunk in the mud, had overgrown, yellowed nails that were more like fangs than what any human should have. A coarse cloak covered the upper half of his face, but as he shifted on his feet, Asterion caught a glimpse of the old man's eyes. They burned. The man was hollow like a furnace, and reeked of bitter smoke. Foul was the god on the river's shore, and common was it for nobles and highborn to shy away from him. Judging by Asterion's smile, however, one would guess he beheld a holy envoy covered in fine garments and fragrant with the scent of flowers. Asterion's hooves sunk into the muddy soil of the river as the old god's gaze crawled over the hybrid. Sensing movement, half a dozen crabs which had hidden in the mud skittered away from the two of them. Water time. Oh yeah. Alright. What a peculiar sight. Not a man and not a beast, but much less an immortal. Neither a mournful youth nor a pacified elder. A smiling newly dead, one leaping downhill like a nymph. Now, let me collect my payment. With his left hand, the foul-smelling elder supported the Minotaur's neck and massaged the lump within it with a bony thumb. With his other hand, he reached into Asterion's mouth and plucked the obstruction from his throat, like a child would pluck a flower. It was a gold coin, so freshly mint that it shone like an ember. You must have had a good friend, young hybrid. This will do well. Now tell me, what is your lineage, hybrid son? Words flowed from his lips like honey. The Minotaur's heart pranced like a newborn foal, and his face regained some of its color. I am the son of Earth and foamy sea, but my race is starry, heavenly. My name is Asterion. Lord Charon, may I cross the river to my place of rest? The old man ran a slender finger over his matted beard as he looked the newly dead up and down. Very well, come. We shall cross the rivers. It shall be a scenic ride for you, for such a bountiful payment. Ah, what a day. A newly dead beaming with life, heavenly blood and the corpse of a beast, a cursed being with gold to spare. Tell me, boy, why the joy? It is fair that the bud plucked before spring cursed the hand which left it to wither. Yet I see no vinegar, only honey and wine. Asterion sat on the boat, his back to the man. He looked ahead to the distant shore. The fire in his chest kept him warm. He did not bother responding to the old god's question. Chapter 10. The Bedrock. There are rules to placing cutlery. Forks to the left, knives to the right. The first set placed on the outside. Spoons are placed to the right of knives. The basics are simple, but it's easy to get it wrong if you forget what kind of fork is meant for which meal. In the end, however, it doesn't matter. Very few sit at a dinner table for its sparkling cutlery first and food second, after all. But today, even if for just a moment, silverware seems like a matter of colossal importance. Asterion ignores the cheese and crackers, cursed meats and boiled eggs, jams and pastries. His eyes are locked on your spoon, the disgraceful thing he placed on the wrong side of the plate. Fat drops of sweat run from his forehead to his chin, then drip down onto his lap. You can hear a rumble coming from him, a drawn-out grunt of distress followed by the Minotaur hunching over you. It's like, drink time. He woke up different today, stumbling about, skittish, already second-guessing the choice to have breakfast with you. But he wouldn't back down on his word. Now his distress is carved onto his face. You let go of your buttered bread and smile at him. It wouldn't do any good to make him any more nervous with probing for answers. You'll need to be delicate. Is something the matter, Asterion? You look sick. The Minotaur's eyes shift down to his plate. He recoils farther into a compacted ball of fur, his hands clasped above his legs. Asterion's unease crawls over to you and gnaws away at your confidence over the situation. Such a simple thing, breakfast. Just last night he had a contagious smile when he accused you of harboring a honeyed tongue. Perhaps it was the wine. The idea must have pleased him then. But in sobriety, all of a man's shame returns with a vengeance. You look for something to say. Is there even any combination of words that can pull the two of you from this bog? Just how far can words go against tragedy in a man's life? Asterion remains with his hands locked in his lap, gazed down as if in deference. There's no great wisdom that can pull him, but perhaps honesty can offer some relief. You shouldn't feel bad. His gaze returns to your cutlery, to the disgraceful spoon, and back to himself. I'm not talking about the spoon. You don't deserve to go through this kind of distress at all. We had fun last night, didn't we? Nothing's changed since then. You had an enjoyable dinner with the other guests. You and I were at the same table. The one difference is this time the both of us are eating together. He looks off to the side and grinds his teeth. I feel very inadequate. This experience is very unsettling to me. Why? As I said last night, I never had a proper meal with the master, and the spoon. I put it in the wrong place. About the spoon, what can we do to solve it? It's too late. It's in the wrong place already. But can it be fixed? I suppose so. He picked the spoon up and put it in its correct place to the right of the knives. There! Fixed. And the most reason for you to be nervous. Is there anything else bothering you? You can tell me. He lets out a drawn-out sigh. It sounds defeated at first, but his shoulders are relaxed and his eyes are half closed. I sometimes forget. The master is not one who would go for physical punishment. I shall outgrow that fear, worry not. Besides feeling inadequate, I realize now that I don't want you to see me struggling with the cutlery. I can't shake the feeling you'll be angry with me. Angry because you struggle with a knife and fork? And then what would happen? I don't know. Maybe the master would think less of me, seeing me for what I am. I don't think any less of you. You take a bite. Why do you struggle with cutlery? Did no one ever teach you? I just never learned. I just never needed to learn as I grew up. And for a long time after, as a matter of fact. It wasn't until a few centuries ago that I even saw forks. It was a novelty then. People have tried teaching me, but I struggle with fine movements. I prefer eating with my hands. Ooh, excuse me. That's good. Well then, do just that. There's no issue with it. But it would be undignified of me to expose myself this way, and... The times really have changed, haven't they? Is all this distress for nothing? Yes, it's hard for me to understand why you were so nervous. Nothing of what you've done today, even since I arrived at the hotel, deserves any bad reaction. But if you want to use cutlery, then try it. There's no problem if you get it wrong or make a mess. The Minotaur takes the precious silverware in his hands. There is no way this is going to end well. He hadn't stopped to watch before, but Asterion's clumsiness with small objects is nothing short of a crime. One can't help but feel the urge to leap out and guide his hand, but this is a challenge he must overcome himself. The silverware is so thin, he has a hard time keeping it between his thick fingers. It keeps slipping around his hand as well. Overall, Asterion's troubled relationship with silverware follows a three-act structure. First, he reacquaints his finger with the thin metal. His hands quiver like long-lost lovers, touching lips together for the first time in ages. There's an attempt at gracefulness, like teenagers foaming around at a moment of passion. For a glorious split second, he holds it properly, then the fork slips as he puts pressure on a piece of cheese. In the second act, things take a turn for the worse. As the Minotaur again becomes distressed, he forgets how cutlery is meant to be held. He grips it like two pins, or perhaps like a pair of scalpel and pincers. It goes well for half a minute before the fork slips and falls into his glass of orange juice. The fork pleads for help, for the hand of his precious lover, but Asterion's mind has turned cold along with the river of sweat running down his back and matting his shirt. The tragedy arrives in the play's third act. Our once plucky hero is consumed by grief, wrath, hubris. The gods have given up on him, much like he did on love. As if you don't exist, as if dignity was an alien concept, Asterion holds the knife and fork, sticky with juice, like a child, gripping the handle as if he was ready to stab the miserable cur displayed upon his plate. And there he goes. The battle for the breakfast is over, and he's about to enjoy his single slice of cheese. It cost his dignity. That is a small price to pay for sustenance. The humiliation never ends, for the cheese was sliced too thin. It tears and drops into his lap, staining his clothes further. With a greasy plap as it falls to the floor, the tragedy draws to a close. How much abuse can a man take before snapping? How unfair can the world be? In other periods of human history, trauma as profound as this would surely push any man to take arms against creation itself. At Asterion, however, the Minotaur, disgraced creature, is left with one outlet. Yo, really? He just mooed? That's adorable. Moo. Did you just moo? Asterion looks up as his face awash with shame and cringe. He slumps in utter defeat, an errant hand knocking a nearby apple off the table. By the gods, what a wretched day! The Minotaur looks away from you. I'm sorry, I think I misheard you. I could swear you, said moo. Yes, sometimes I do it when it gets too much. It's like being in the middle of a storm. I get lost, I can't always get a hold of it, and then it happens. I let out a moo. That's adorable! Excuse me, but what did you just say? It's adorable! I didn't know you did that! A dropped cup of coffee's contents crawl their way to the table's edge. A droplet is pushed out, too, then it becomes a stream as it cascades down to the floor just beside your foot. Before the cup can roll off as well as you push it back up with just a finger as not to bring Asterion's attention to it. Oh, excuse me. Why is it adorable? It just is! You may not agree, but it is adorable! The Minotaur groans, and you take the opportunity to lay your foot over the pesky apple as it attempts to roll away. You pull it back to yourself and press it against the side of your chair. A few drops run down the side of the orange juice cup. A puddle the size of a fingerprint is at its base. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and pause it right there. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and that notification bell, and check out our Patreon if you can. It always helps. Before I go, I'm going to give a quick shout out to our lovely bronze tier patrons. Thank y'all for all you do for the channel. We greatly appreciate your contributions. And thank you to our silver tier patron, Cade Silvermoon. Thank you for going a bit above and beyond. It's greatly appreciated. And to our gold tier patron, Amare. You're awesome. We love you. We hope you enjoy your new icon. And anyway, if y'all want to get your name in the credits and get access to our not safe for work content, it's as little as $5. Anyway, I love you all, and I shall see y'all in the next video. Bye-bye!